quickly just, this was one of the questions you had earlier, like about the data mobility piece. So again, we provide a comprehensive data mobility solution. Like I just took a use case. This is actually a customer use case where customer was doing some of the bio research on-prem, and they wanted to do the training and application in the cloud. For them, the requirement was all my data is being generated at the edge. I want to take that data and bring it to my main data center, which is like a data consolidation use case, right? So from multiple sites, it's end-to-one kind of consolidation of the data. There they were doing the processing, and they were using the cloud to do some further inferencing on it, and also the tiering and all. Our solution supports the sync, the replication piece we talked about. It supports the consolidation of data, so you can have end-to-one. You also have the distribution of data. Say if you want to do, we support that with objects today. Files is something that we are working on, where from one location, if you want to distribute the artifacts across sites, across different files or object server, that's where the distribution piece comes in. So this provides end-to-end data mobility between edge, core, and cloud. Like that's the use case around global data management. And the best part is all of this can be in the same global namespace, so it simplifies things even further, like in how you do the data mobility. Next one is security, but if there's any question, I can take that. Otherwise, move to the security piece. We have a lot more, so I just quickly running through a few items there. This is a big piece. Like we believe that security, like one of the architectural principles, as I mentioned, is it's a secure data pipeline, right? What we provide for security, lots of focus on cyber resilience, being able to not just detect known ransomware, but also new ransomwares which are not there, right? And I will walk through how we do it. But at a very high level, any known ransomware, we have built the logic within our file system itself. So in real time, we can detect ransomware and block it. And we have customers who have been saved because of the capability. For new ransomware, we have a behavioral-based detection engine. And in one of the upcoming slides, I will walk you through how we do that piece. The second part is the data analytics and lifecycle management. So this is another big ask, like primarily around curing data blindness. Like this is a challenge where customers typically didn't have lots of visibility into their data, what's happening to the data, who are accessing. So it fills that gap for customers. And then the entire audit trails and insights based on the audit trails is what provides the compliance and assurance piece. So let's look at the behavioral-based ransomware detection that we have built into the product, right? So our data lens product gets a continuous stream of all the files and objects activities happening on the storage systems, right? All the reads, writes, open, close, everything that's happening, change permissions. It's looking at all of them. And it runs those events through a detection engine, I will say ransomware detection engine, where it does pattern matching to see if it is matching any of the common patterns around ransomware. And if it matches any of those patterns, instead of just alerting right away, it actually goes and validates whether the file has been encrypted or not. Right? So this is our way of reducing any false positives by actually validating it. And if that is positive, it triggers the whole remediation engine. So we provide a policy-based engine where you can take actions. Your actions could be block this IP address from where we are seeing the attack coming, or block the user, or it could be also just make the file or object storage read-only so that you can't do any further damage to it. So that's the piece which is the exposure window is a very important metric that we look at. From the time of detection to the time of blocking, how long it takes. In the past, we had 20 minutes or less. We have reduced it to 10 minutes. So now within a 10 minutes exposure window, we can detect a new ransomware and block it. Right? That's the capability.
Sorry, so how are you seeing this relate to AI workloads?
Yeah, so primarily we are seeing that all the data that we are putting out there, making sure that we are providing the security of the data. Like, so this is for AI and in general, all the other application use cases, we are saying the security of the data becomes important. Like because part of the AI workflow will be that you're bringing all the data together, storing in one location, making sure that the data is secure there. Like you're not being, like you're not getting ransomware attacked, encrypted, and then now you have to pay for that part. So essentially securing the data that you have, that piece.
Vishal, do you interface with other security products in the enterprise? We had a prior client yesterday talking about networking security, SOC, NOC, all those sorts of things. Do you provide hooks into that if you're detecting some sort of ransomware activity going on in your storage?
Yeah, so just actually a few weeks ago, we published so we are part of the CrowdStrike marketplace. You can get, so we feed all the detection piece into the SIEM solution for CrowdStrike. Palo Alto is coming soon. So we are definitely going after some of these bigger solutions, and Splunk is the next one that's something that we are looking at. So yes, we are feeding into these.
Did you earlier mention immutable storage? Is that your snapshots are immutable or
Yes.
can be immutable? Or
those are all immutable.
all snapshots are immutable.
Yeah. Right.
So product inherent Hyphens Consulting. So why wait 10 minutes? How long does it take to detect?
Yeah, so remember, right now, this product, we run it in the cloud. So you have your storage systems running across different locations. We get all the activities. We feed it into the cloud engine that we are running, where it goes through the algorithm, tests it out. If it detects an anomaly, that's when it actually goes back to probe, looks at few of the files to see whether they're really encrypted or not, right, to avoid the false positive. So that whole thing that it looks through, validation, and then we just don't wait for just one event. Like we look at few more to make sure that false positive avoidance is the number one thing, like for us, because that fatigue of getting false positives makes the customer not trust the system, and then some real events will get through. So we spend lots of time making sure that whatever alerts that we generate are not false positives.
Right, because in 10 minutes, I mean, a lot of damage can be done, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And
today.
The best part will be this solution is also now coming on-prem, like by January timeframe, we'll have it in on-prem. Then the whole going to the cloud, coming back, testing all those, that cycle will be. So we started with 20 minutes exposure window. We have brought it to 10, and we'll continue to reduce that window.
Right. And these are then like, if you detect an actual positive attack, do you go and quarantine those files and
that's right. So that is the remediation engine piece that you see there. So that's a policy-based engine that lets you define the policy. Like the first policy will be how to prevent further damage, right? So for that, it will give you the ability to block the client which is doing the encryption, block the IP address. You can make the files for object storage read-only so that you can't do any more encryption pieces. So it provides those capabilities as a runbook for you. Further, so we don't just stop at detection and blocking, we also provide the ability to do one-click recovery. What that does is that it looks through your snapshots and finds the first unencrypted version of that file, and with few clicks, it will bring that back, right? So it's a comprehensive solution for near real-time detection, not a backup-based solution, which is primarily recovery, but instead being able to detect in near real time, block it, and then also provide the recovery.
How is, when you block an inference query, how is that returned back to the higher level architecture? Is that going to come back as a regular expression? I mean, as an error?
As an error access at that point, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do y'all trickle that up as like a 403 or something?
No, so right now, so the alert actually goes to the platform engineering team saying, hey, we detected something. So yeah, today the platform engineering team will know that something is going on at that point. The client just gets access denied at that point.
Is that data enriched up to the customer?
Today,
I guess that would fall on Kubernetes or the app or whatever.
That's right. Yeah, okay. Whatever the behavior.
So, and I'm digging into this because to your point, 10 minutes doesn't mean squat. Something happens in 10 minutes, I don't care. Something happens in an hour, I don't care. What I do care about is now I have to wait until I come back to that operation and restart it. And so what I like to see is when something like this happens and we stop the progress, either model building, doing some sort of RAG pipeline, whatever. Once that stops, what is going to give me the data to get back into it? What is going to bring me back to normal work?
And today, that's an important point, because if you look at with a traditional system, that whole workflow is more than 2 weeks. Like, in fact, that's some of the data published there, that in a traditional system where you are relying primarily on recovery, now you have to go first, you have to quarantine the entire system, do the contact tracing to figure out which systems are infected, are we more vulnerable to those attacks? Like, so it will not be in minutes because you still have to make sure that whichever systems are infected are quarantined, cleaned before you can turn things back on. What we do is that instead of waiting weeks to get that system back up and running, we could reduce it to hours. That's the value of the solution.
But that's assuming we're talking a fully compromised system or
That's
one
right.
you consider compromised. Okay.
That's right. Yeah.
And the policy-based action is something the customer actually defines what he wants to do.
That's
Whether he
right.
wants
That's
to
right.
go back to some snapshot that's not encrypted immediately, or decide to try to bring up multiple files that all represent one system at some consistent point or something
That's
like
right.
that, which is
Exactly.
a different game, right?
Exactly, you're right. Yeah, because so basic, like what we have seen is customers who start with the system first will put the remediation policy as alert only. Like they don't trust the system yet. They want to not get clients blocked, as you said, and it was a false positive, and hey, everything blocks, and now I have to get a pager and I have to act on it. So they will generally start in the monitoring mode, and then they build trust and they go. Lately, we see a lot more our clients, our customers going more with the actual blocking policies.
You mentioned earlier a lot about disaster recovery as well. Is there policy-based disaster recovery capabilities as well in that case?
That's right. Like when you say policy, it's like the RTU, RPO.
Well, it's like that, but how are my systems brought up in case one cluster goes down and I'm using another cluster? How are they brought up in sequence? What's the proper
That's the runbook.
staging?
Yes.
I'm sorry?
That's part of the runbook. So the DR runbook, where when you do the recovery, it runs through the runbook, and based on that, it will bring it
That's all I wanted to know. Thank
Yes, yes. Quickly, this is, and we'll do a live demo of this. So that's why I'm just putting the teaser out there. This is our data lens platform. This looks at all the metadata and user data to build the intelligence. And primarily what it provides is the visibility to what the storage system is doing, what kind of files are stored, what access is happening. And it also provides deep visibility into what the users are doing. Right? One very typical example was that we got a query saying, hey, looks like we lost some files, your system is deleting some files. We turned the data lens on, and very quickly we found that there was a rogue script which was coming and deleting files, and the customer was not aware of it. The whole lineage is what gets tracked in the system, right from the time a file is created to any renames, to any permissions change, to anything that's happening. You can put the file name in there. It will give you the entire history of what has happened to it. But if you want to see a user and what has happened with the user, you can see the whole user activity there. So this gives you a very comprehensive view into your user and into your storage system, right? And the next, okay, so that's the part. And the third big piece is also the permissions. Like for all, it gives a bidirectional view on your files and folders and the permissions that the user has. So you can click on a file and it can tell you which all users have access to that file. Or you can click on a user and it will give you all the files and folders that user has access to. So it gives you a bidirectional view on the users and the permissions that they have on different files and folders. So it provides a very comprehensive data analytics, both from user and the storage perspective, that you can leverage to make sure that there's full governance built into your data pipeline. Right? And this is my last slide, which brings all of this together on the storage side, which is like the 4 pillars, like what we have built the platform on. Run it simple, right? Which is having a single turnkey enterprise AI platform for all the data and the application that you build. Run it secure with some of the capabilities that I just talked about in terms of data lens and for data at rest, data in flight, and data in use security. Run everywhere. That's the foundation for us. Given we are software defined, the same solution will run at the edge, in the core, and in the cloud. And then the whole run unified. Like you don't need a separate siloed solution for running files, objects, or block. All of them are consolidated onto a single platform to give a very turnkey solution to build intelligent applications.
So just before, so you support SSDs, disk storage, you don't actually support other storage subsystems behind this, and sort of direct path mode or anything like that, do you?
When you meet, it's a
Like
shelf.
I wanted to do some Ray Lucchese storage NAS box over here behind your solution. You're not going to allow that as you're being a front end to that.
That's right. That's
Okay,
what
that's what I want to know.
yes.
Although